So today we're going to talk about how to make your minor 2-5-1s sound buttery smooth, and it all comes down to the voicings that you use, because I could take that same progression that I just played and play it like this, and obviously it doesn't sound as good. But before we jump into the good voicings, let's do a quick explanation of what a minor 2-5-1 is, in case you don't know. If we jump into my chord scale charts, here's the one in C major, and you zoom in here, you'll see there's the 2 chord is D minor 7, the 5 chord is G7, and the 1 chord is C major 7. That sounds like this. Now let's take a look here at the C harmonic minor chart. And you'll see here that instead of a D minor 7 chord, instead of a regular 2 chord, we have a 2 minor 7 flat 5 chord, or half diminished chord. That equates to D minor 7 flat 5, or D half diminished. The 5 chord is the same, 5-7 is a G7, and that's going to lead us to C minor. So if we write this out real clear, you'll see that a major 2-5-1 would be D minor 7, going to G7, going to C major 7. And if we're going to a C minor chord like C minor 7, instead of D minor 7 here, we're going to do D minor 7 with a flat 5, going to G7. So it's that 2 chord that you really have to pay attention to. That's the one that has the alteration, that flat 5. And it's one of the reasons that I really like the sound of minor 2-5-1s, because you have a more interesting 2 chord than just your basic D minor 7 chord in that example there. And just so you can hear them back to back, here's the 2-5-1 going to C major 7. And here's the 2-5-1 going to C minor 7. Right off the bat, as soon as I play that D minor 7 with the flat 5, you can already hear this is a little bit different. We're going to a slightly darker place than we did before. In this case, C minor 7. Now, quick side note, if you want to get crazy, you can actually use the D minor 7 flat 5 chord to then go to the G7 and then to the C major 7. That's totally cool. It gives you a different sound. It's a little bit unorthodox, but it still sounds good. Check this out. There you have this contrast between the dark sound of the D minor 7 flat 5 to the much brighter C major 7. But we're going to stick with the standard minor 2-5-1 for today, and we're actually going to go to a D minor chord just to make it really, really easy, because D minor is such a common chord. So let's build that out real quick. If we're ending up on D minor or D minor 7, the 2 chord, well, let's look back at the charts again. By the way, you can get these charts for free. They're linked up on the screen and in the description below. They are so helpful for understanding music theory, whether you're learning how to build out chords or pick out scales for soloing. You got to get them. They're free. Check them out. So here we have the D harmonic minor chart. Let's zoom in. The 2 chord is E minor 7 flat 5. The 5 chord is A7. So let's go back here. E minor 7 with a flat 5 going to A7. So how are we going to play these chords so that they sound good? Because if I just play them in root position, it sounds silly. So for the E minor 7 flat 5, here's what we're going to do. In the left hand, you're just going to play the triad, the E diminished triad. That's going to be E, G, and B flat. And then in the right hand, we're going to play a D major triad on top. So D, F sharp, and A. That's a D major triad. And what that gives us is E is the root, or the 1, G is the 3rd, B flat is the flat 5, D is the 7, F sharp is the 9, and A is the 11. So you get this sound. Now, there are a few different ways to analyze this. You can look at it like E diminished triad and D major triad stacked on top of one another. I call this chord stacking, but you can also analyze it just by going 1, 3, flat 5, 7, 9, 11, and just think of it like a chord recipe. Another way to do it is by looking at it like an E minor 7 flat 5 chord, and then on top you just play the 9 and the 11. So you can break it up however you want. And I always recommend analyzing chords and scales and licks and whatever in lots of different ways, so you can have all of these different touch points and dive into the material from different angles. That will just help you understand it on a deeper level. But for now, let's just think of it as 2 triads, E diminished and D major. And I didn't point this out earlier, but it's important to understand the relationship between the D major triad and the root of this chord. And just keep in mind that D is a whole step below the root of this chord, E. So if you're going to play this same voicing on, say, a G minor 7 with a flat 5, you're going to play the triad that is a whole step below the root of this chord. The root of this chord is G, a whole step below is F. So you're going to play an F major triad on top of the bottom part of the chord. So the bottom part of the chord is going to be the diminished triad, G, B flat, and D flat. And then F is a whole step below the G. So on top of that, we play F, A, and C. So keep in mind the relationship between your stacked chords and whatever the root is. That will make it much easier when it comes to transposing these voicings into other keys. Okay, on to the A7 chord. We're not going to just play a basic A7 chord. We cannot just do this. We got to give it some bite. So we're going to play an A7 altered chord. Now, what does that mean? That means we're going to use a sharp 9 and a sharp 5. You can also think of that sharp 5 as a flat 13, whatever's easier for you. And the way we're going to do this is similar to how we played the previous voicing. We're going to use chord stacking. So on the left hand, you're going to play the basic color tones, the 3rd and the 7, or the 7 and the 3rd. I'm going to do the 7 and the 3rd, which is going to be a G is the 7, and the 3rd is C sharp. And then on top of that, I'm going to play an F major triad. F, A, and C. All right? Now, what does that give us? As I said before, G is the 7, C sharp is the 3rd. F is that sharp 5, or flat 13. A is the root. After all, we're playing an A7 altered chord. And then C is the sharp 9. It sounds like this. Really great sound. If you want, you can play the root as well. You'll have to change up your fingering a bit, but it will sound like this. So here I'm playing the A and the G in my left hand, and then the C sharp, F, A, and C in my right. But it also sounds good without the root. And here's what it sounds like when I go from the E minor 7 flat 5 to the A7 altered. Really, really nice. If I add the root in, also nice. A little bit thicker, of course, with that bottom there. Okay, on to the last chord, D minor, but we're not going to just do D minor, and we're not going to just do D minor 7. We're going to do D minor 11, because that's where all the fun happens. So for this one, another basic voicing, very similar actually to the E minor 7 flat 5 voicing. We're going to do some more chord stacking here. D minor triad in the left hand, and in the right hand, a C major triad. So it's actually exactly like the E minor 7 flat 5 voicing, except of course we don't have the flat 5. So you play a basic D, F, A triad, D minor triad in the left hand, and then in the right hand, C, E, and G. And that gives you the 1, the 3, the 5, the 7, the 9, and the 11. And remember, pay attention to the relationship between your stacked triad and the root of the chord. It's a whole step below your root. So if we go to another key, if we go to F minor 11, you can play that F minor triad in the left hand and then think, what's a whole step below F? E flat. So you play an E flat major triad above that. Beautiful. All right, let's put it all together now. Here's the minor 2 5 1, E minor 7 flat 5, A7 alt, followed by D minor 11. And the notes are E, G, B flat, D, F sharp, A. And for the A7, we have A, G, C sharp, F, A, and C. And then for the D minor, we have D, F, A, C, E, G. And it sounds like this. So slick. Now, let's put it into some more context. I'm going to play a part of Amazing Grace and include this very 2-5-1 in the arrangement. So this is somewhere in the middle of the verse. Check it out. go. So it was actually right in the middle there. Now, for my D minor voicing, I did change it up a little bit because I have the C in the melody there, but it's the same principle. It's a much wider voicing, but there's not that much to it. Check this out. Instead of the closed position D minor, I did an open position D minor. Real big spread there. And then instead of just playing a regular C major chord, I played a full C major chord with the root on top. Now you don't have to do this big spread in the left hand if you don't want, or if you can't reach. You can play the closed position, that'll sound good too. Another option for the right hand, instead of playing a C major chord, you can play this cluster voicing, which has the 9, the 3, the 11, and the 7, and then play that D minor triad on the bottom, or spread it out. All those options sound great. The point is, it's all about the voicings. So study the ones that I gave you in today's video. If you want to learn more, I've got a whole collection of voicings called Sick Chords Volume 1. That's linked up in the description below. And if you want to learn how to build your own voicings and reharmonize songs like Amazing Grace and any other song for that matter, definitely check out my course, Chord Theory for R&B Piano, where I walk you through step-by-step everything I know about chords, harmony, reharmonization, music theory, and how to make it sound really good. So we'll leave it there. If you want to check out another video, I know you're going to love this one right over here. So click on that, and I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.